Hello, hello out there. Welcome to day 9 of Cook for Victory. It is Friday night and you're cooking with me, Maddie.
And my name is Millie and we are cooking tonight at Cookery School at Little Portland Street.
If you haven't been listening to the boring intro every other night, I am a pastry chef that's been working in the industry over 10 years now, and I've done my last 3 years teaching here at Cookery School.
I'm from London. I did my professional training here at Cookery School, and before that I was a personal chef in Tuscany.
Lovely. And tonight we are at almost halfway, kind of. We're at day 9 out of our 20 days cooking really, really delicious food, crowd pleasers, things that you guys can cook at home. We're showing you can do it in an hour with ease and grace.
Oh yes.
And tonight we have a Friday night special.
Yes, chicken and chips.
Yum.
But also we'll be covering lots of other ways to bread different things if you don't eat meat. So we're doing lovely fish goujons. We're also going to be doing a couple of different veggie versions.
We're breading everything.
Alongside some lovely sweet potato chips. So covering every board.
base. And we also have, just as a nice cool side, we've got some coleslaw to pop through at the end. So as per usual, it's not going to be the simplest of nights. We might get a little bit sweaty as we always do, but you can take your time and chill out. For us, we start with chicken.
Yes.
Chicken.
And we've also got a special guest tonight, Dr. Zaan van Talaken, who will be joining us a little later on.
We'll bring him on when he's ready.
Right, first job. So, first job is we need to prepare our sort of wet batter. So we are going to be doing both a wet and a dry mix to dip our chicken into. So Maddie will be chopping a little bit of parsley. So we've got some lovely dried rosemary. So you don't always need to use fresh herbs. Sometimes dried can be just as good. Some salt and pepper, a little bit of flour and some milk. So if you grab all your things for your chicken at this point, we're going to start doing that now. So this is also a wonderful point to get your oven on, especially if it's a little slow to heat up. We're going to set ours to at least 200. If yours is a little cool, turn it up to 210, maybe 220.
Yeah. You can always take a little bit, and you can grab yourself an oven tray as well. And if you haven't already, grab your chicken pieces. We've got some drumsticks and some thighs, both with the bone in, but it's kind of whatever works for you. They just got a little bit more moisture to them, so they can take the oven heat a little bit better.
So Maddie's going to chop some parsley really finely. I'm going to add some just plain flour, some salts, dried rosemary, pepper, just freshly cracked black pepper. Got there in the end. Along with Maddie's parsley. I'm going to give it a little mix with my fingers, and this is going to be what's going to crisp up my chicken in the oven. And to make sure that my dry breading sticks, I'm going to use some milk.
So pretty simple breading this version is. We need Jeffrey's as well, just realising. We're going to do another type of breading afterwards that will have that classic 3-tray system, a little bit of flour, a little bit of egg, and some breadcrumbs on the outside. But this is kind of like a Cheats crisp chicken, isn't it?
Yes, so we're doing oven fried chicken. It's a little healthier than doing it in a deep fat fryer, and best of all, it's made at home, so even if you are using a little bit of extra oil to fry it, you know exactly what goes into it. Nice and simple. So we've got some olive oil for frying. I've got my dry dredge set up and my wet one. So we are ready to go. I've got chicken portions here. I've got a mixture of drums and thighs. So these are nice bone-in portions. They'll keep their moisture a little bit better while they cook, and they are skin on because skin gets very crispy in the oven and it's delicious.
If this is your first night and you haven't yet been introduced to our best friend, this is Jeffrey. Jeffrey is a Cookery School special. In the rest of the world, it's just a plastic bench scraper, but here it's Jeffrey. Jeffrey is the main man. He's picking up everything off our boards. He's clearing up. You'll see us using it to scrape down the bench. What else do? We clean our knives off. If there's anything stuck to it, we divide dough if we need to. Jeffrey is the number one.
So just to get it started, I'm going to mix this all together so that we can dip our pieces of chicken into. You could use chicken breast, but it tends to dry out as soon as it's finished cooking. So it's a little bit more difficult. Chicken thighs and drumsticks are much more forgiving, and they really suit well like crispy deliciousness. They'll just continue to get cooked and lovely and soft. So that's my dry mix looking ready to go. So I'm going to start dipping my portions in the milk and then into my flour, and then we'll put them onto a tray with lots and lots of olive oil. So nice and simple to get started with. So I'll pop a couple in, put a couple in here, put them on the tray, and we'll just start assembling like so. Maddie's got some sweet potatoes ready to cut into wedges for our chips.
This is one of those times where we think about if you are touching chicken, one, you're not washing it.
Do a little oil on the tray.
Ever. Because you're just going to spray it everywhere. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on the tray. It's going to help it crisp up and give it a little bit of colour and also help it not to stick. You could probably almost go straight onto the tray, but a little bit of paper is not going to do you any harm anyway.
So we've just lined ours with a little bit of grease-proof.
Like this. And I'm probably going to use Jeffrey to spread it about as well.
So you don't need to have that. It's just so ours is not going to stick too much. With my chicken, try and have a dry hand and a wet hand if you can, so you don't batter yourself along the way.
Batter yourself.
So toss it around, dip it in my mix. I've got quite a few portions to go, so I'm not going to do too much on the first couple. I'm going to go skin up where we can.
For the extra crispiness.
For the extra crispiness,
thank you. Of course, that amount of flour that we've got is not a hard set. You might need a dash more, you might need a dash less, and same with the milk as well. You can always grab a touch more. I'm hoping that wasn't your last little drips of milk. That just gives it a nice crispy edge. But if you need more, you can always put a little bit more in. Do you want some more flour?
We'll see, perhaps. But like always, we cover roasting a couple of times in the last few sessions. So we're going to make sure they have lots of room between them. If you are doing this for a crowd, maybe get 2 trays so there's lots of room for all the steam to escape so they get nice and crispy.
Are you happy for me to put these in here for
you?
you?
Of course. Thank you. So as you can see, I'm not doing my own rule, which is why I'm getting in. But mainly because I only want to mess up one hand. This is going to be my dirty one.
So we've got our drumsticks in there now.
Drumsticks in, dipping it in the milk. So you need this to be a little wet in order for it to stick to the dry. So that's why we do this. So we've added some paper to our tray just so it's a little easier to clean up firstly, and also it just helps the oil stick to everything a little bit better for me. But you don't need to do it necessarily. I might need a touch more flour, Maddie, just to these last bits. And we've got a little bit of salt and pepper here just to season it, but I might also do a touch of salt just on top, just help them season all the way through.
You say when, man.
Just another tablespoon. Thank you.
This. So we've just added a little bit more flour in there just for those last few pieces. And this is scalable as heck. If you're feeding 30 people, a little bit more flour, a little bit more milk.
So we're just trying to minimize the amount that we're touching. Well, we're trying not to touch anything else at this point, which is why if you've got a friend on hand or someone else who can grab things for you, otherwise you just have to wash your hands each time.
Yeah. I've got nice clean hands, so I'm just going to be Millie's clean hands to, say, for example, open the oven, anything like that. Lady. Because raw chicken is a mass carrier of salmonella, so we're just trying to keep it really contained to, one, Millie's hands, and then these 2 glass bowls.
Mucky,
so it's
mucky
not,
hands.
You know, it's not here, it's not on here, it's not on the oven.
And doing it in a bowl is kind of nice because it's very contained compared to doing it on a chopping board or in like a shallow tray, which you can bread things in, but especially for chicken, you don't really want to have this spreading everywhere. So I'm just going to check there's no like very dry looking bits. That one is looking a touch dry, so I'm going to add a bit more to that. But you use almost all of it up just doing like
why not?
a couple of packets of chicken breasts and thighs. Right, so this is me done. I'm going to give my hands a really good wash, and if you have got chicken anywhere, make sure you also clean your surfaces with antibacterial spray.
And as we said just before, we're not going to wash our chicken. That's just spraying that salmonella that we're talking about everywhere. This is ready to go in. Depending on how many pieces that you have, we're going to say half an hour we'll have a look, or 20 minutes we'll have a look, we'll rotate, we might flip them over, we'll see how they're going. If they're really close to each other, they might need a bit more time, and if you're doing lots in your oven, again, it might need a bit more time after that as well.
Maddie, you can just give them a little sprinkle of salt and a bit more olive oil on top as well.
A little bit more olive oil for extra crispiness.
So we're also not deep frying them, so while it seems like quite a lot of oil, we're not using cups and cups of it. Just a little bit over the top. And then I'm going to do it a little bit more. So if it's just flour on its own in the oven, it's not going to get super, super crispy. So I'll just do like a light but very even drizzle. So sometimes doing it with an oil bottle is a little bit easier, or a spritzer or something if you have it. And now these are ready to go. Thank you.
They look beautiful.
All right.
And next, we are going to get our crispy, crispy chips in the oven. We've got sweet potato. You can use normal potato. As per usual, I'm going to begin the peeling. I think it's still my strength. So you're going to be chopping meal, and same as our butternuts, you can see that nice kind of orange color, that's what we're going down to. So we're not just doing a light peel, we're going to do quite a hefty, a nice deep peel.
So deep frying is not usually the healthiest thing to do, to be honest.
It is delicious,
but
it's not necessarily the healthiest.
Delicious, but not the healthiest. So you can fry lots of things in your oven, you just need a little bit more oil than you would if you were regularly roasting. So yeah, it's sort of best of both worlds. You get crispiness, but you're not using quite as much oil in the first place. But you could take what we've done today and deep fry it if you wanted something super indulgent. But to be honest, deep frying at home is really, really messy. It's pretty dangerous. You have hot oil everywhere.
And it also is
stinky.
It's a bit of a waste of the oil, I think, sometimes as well. If you're deep frying, you kind of want to be in a commercial setting. I'm
going to need the big knife. So while I often favour the slightly smaller knife, because I've got kind of small hands, if you're doing anything that's really, really dense, a bigger knife is often much more useful. So I can have my hand on top of the blade. It's very, very safe. And we're cutting into wedges. So sweet potatoes are very sugary, as the name suggests, and they shrink a lot as well in the oven. So go a tiny bit bigger than you think. But if you need them to cook really quickly, you could cut them a little bit smaller. These are kind of tiddly ones. Maybe I'll go into thirds for some of them.
And in terms of temperature, these can take quite a high heat. Quite a high heat.
Yeah, we're going to go into our 215 oven, so nice and hot. If they are not hot enough, they're just going to stew. They won't brown. They'll get really soggy, and we want them a little bit crispy, hopefully. Thanks.
And you get mashed potato in your oven instead of crispy chips.
But because they have got all that sugar, they go really caramelized and lovely and sweet.
They're absolutely delicious.
So again, if you've got something a little bit wobbly, put your hand between them, anchor your tip of the knife on the chopping board, whoop, cut through it. These are pretty hard sweet potatoes.
So sweet potatoes are a nice alternative because they have a natural sweetener to them. And there's not just these types of sweet potatoes, there's actually quite a few different types. There's white, there's golden, there's purple ones. You can make yourself and eat the rainbow from even just different types of sweet potatoes. But they have a really good natural sweetness. That's why a lot of people use them in cooking as well, as opposed to just using, even in cakes, brownies, everyone does
muffins, all sorts of weird things.
Muffins. Am I not peeling fast enough? Oh my gosh. Never heard that before in my life.
Hard taskmaster.
There you go.
Thank you. And if you're not doing handles off the knife, you're doing your very awkward little claw, just making sure your fingers are right out the way of whatever you're chopping. I've never chopped such hard sweet potatoes.
Are they hard? That's good. They'll be crispy.
Very fresh.
We get in there.
Right. So hopefully they're all being cut roughly the same size, just so they cook at the same rate. It's nothing more than that really. You just want to make sure they cook at the same time, because otherwise you'll get a couple of raw ones and a couple of burnt to a crisp ones, which is never that nice. Always trimming off top and bottom, just making sure I get the good stuff only.
And we've got that same kind of notion again. We've got the paper there just in case, and it does kind of help to clean it as well. Although we do talk about that nice brown kind of caramel flavour. If it's got that on the bottom, it won't be sticking to the tray. We're going to give them a good amount of oil, just a light sprinkle of salt to start that seasoning, and they can be seasoned again once they're on the plate as well. So these are looking pretty good.
So for any really long ones I have, I'm just going to go in half across its middle and then also lengthwise. But they're looking fairly even. Try and take the time to just push them onto whatever big flat side they have, because again,
that will get
your tray is just like a frying pan. It will help them a lot with the colouring.
We're going to go a good amount of oil, but again, we don't want it to be drowning. We don't want to kind of create potato soup. Millie's going to be Mucky Hand Millie. There we go.
Mucky Millie. My new name. So a little bit of salt. If you like pepper, you can add pepper at this stage as well. And then I'm just going to spread them out. Again, if you're doing kilos and kilos of these, get a second tray.
Yeah, definitely.
Worth doing it so you actually get crispy,
crispy, but they'll also
lovely
just
potatoes.
cook quicker. So you only ever want the one layer of anything you're roasting. You only ever want that one layer.
And a good bit of oil so they actually conduct that heat rather than just burning as soon as they hit that heat of the oven. Right.
Feeling good. We're being
feeling good.
Very, very particular about yours.
I am.
All right, they look pretty good, ready for the oven. You can see we've spread them out quite a bit. They will cook extremely quickly in a nice hot oven, and that's what you want. You want them to get crispy. The oven, same oven that we've got our chicken in, about 215 degrees. They can take a little bit more. They can probably go down to about 200, but you're not going to go anything under 200 because otherwise they're going to turn into soup on your tray. Oh, thank you.
And I can already hear like lots and lots of sizzling coming from our chicken, which is great. Good sign it's getting good colour and browning. So now we're going to bring on our special guest, And. Come on. Welcome. We're going to do some veggie chopping with you. So I hope you've brought your A game tonight.
Hey everybody. Very nice to see you.
And you as well.
Where do you want me to stand?
Good question. We might put you on this side.
I'll be in the middle. They said there's no peeling for me to do this time around, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing.
So we're going to be prepping these veggies. So we're going to put you to work tonight.
Yeah, you're not just here to be the pretty face on the episode tonight.
I want something to do.
I'm going to give you this bit.
The less I have
nice,
to think.
simple one.
So this one,
is this my knife?
No, I'm going to get a small knife. You've got hands like twice the size of mine, so you're going to take the big one.
So we've got a range of different veggies you can do. Just show you can bread just about anything. So we've got aubergine, courgette, cauliflower. So we've come across most of these. Actually, we have come across every single one.
Every single one we've used. Have we used courgette?
Yesterday.
Yes, we did in the minestrone. And yesterday.
So with my cauliflower, I'm going to go for nice thin steaks so we can bread them. And so are you two. You're going to go into nice thin steaks.
You're going to do quarter slices if you can. Like in half and then in half and half. Can you do
that?
Okay,
yeah, I
excellent.
think so.
You get a knife of your choice. There are some serrated ones in here too.
This is a good knife for me.
And I'm going to attempt to get kind of 3 quite even slices on my courgette. But again, we're both going to top and tail ours.
And I'm going to start by trimming off most of my leaves. In fact, probably go for almost all of them.
If you've got your roly-poly courgette like mine, I'm going to do my best to kind of hold it very, very still. I'm going to knife tip down, just shimmy it through, and then I'm going to create that flat surface, and I'm actually going to go for 3 this way, just because you never want to lose your knife. So I've got 4 pieces of courgette that are roughly the same thickness.
So how am I doing like that?
Yeah, that looks good. And then you can flip it on its side, get your flat surface. Beautiful, and you can go 4 from there.
You do 4 from there. Okay.
Easy. Make it easy.
Okay,
aubergine tends to be really spongy if you undercook it. So if you're not quite sure with your aubergine, go a little bit thinner than you think.
Yeah, particularly
because if they're undercooked, they are.
It's a bit hard to tell as well once they're breaded what they look like on the inside.
True. So with mine, I'm just going to try and go into about 3 slices with my cauliflower. If you want to go for perfect steaks, you have to go through the core, otherwise they're just going to fall apart. So this is what's going to be holding it together. So this I can, or that happens. Definitely going to get 1 or 2 good ones out of this. And then we're just going to have a couple of ferrets, but that's fine. They'll just get lovely and breaded and crispy in the oven.
And now.
So this is the idea of a steak. Everything held together, but they are a little fragile, so just be delicate.
They're babies.
Got 2 goodies.
2 goodies?
2 goodies and then some florets.
And now we're going to set up a breading station. And we're just going to go nuts, breading all of this. So if I did say we've got 3 ingredients for the breading. You've got your flour, your egg, and then your bread crumbs at the end. Good thing if you've got old bread in the freezer, just blitz it up. You can use that, no problem. We're going to season our flour to start. And then it's going to be like a 3-man job, potentially doing 3 people doing 1 man's job, I think is what we're going to aim for.
All right.
Well, I'm very impressed at how organised this. Like watching you, it's you know, like I cook every night, but it's not like ballet. If you watch
it's an operation, you know?
Or like whatever. It's more like contemporary dance, but quite a messy kind.
Yeah.
Interpretative.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite avant-garde.
So you don't need to have 3 matching trays like us, but you just want them to have.
They definitely don't need to be Le Creuset.
Exactly. You just need to have like a slight lip on the tray, so when you're breading things in. What we're going to do, egg, flour, breadcrumbs, just so they don't fly all over the sides. Which is why I've got a little bit of depth going on. So, do you want to do breadcrumbs over there?
In your last one?
Flour.
All of them?
All of it, tip it up.
Okay, here we go.
We're going to go flour here, and we did say we're going to season our flour, and this may look like a lot, but we're also doing a variety. So we're doing a fish. We're just starting with the veggies, just so that we don't cross-contaminate. We're going to do a good pinch of salt and pepper in our flour as well and give it a shake about. And
we're going to season every step of the way, because even though breadcrumbs have a tiny bit of salt in them, they're usually a little bit bland. So this is not going to have any salt in it, so you might as well season your breading really well to make sure it's all delicious. So again, it's quite a lot of veggies, so it might look like a lot of salt, but really it's just flour and vegetables, so it needs a good bit. I think we might need a jug to whisk some eggs in. So again, because we're doing so many things to bread, we'll use a little bit more egg than the recipe says. So we'll start with maybe 2 or 3 for all our veggies and our fish. So if I can get you to crack into this jug, I'm going to give you a couple. You can crack on the flat bit.
Oh, that's good. Okay,
that's
here we go. With 1 hand.
Sure.
Oh, I mean, hey, yeah.
Why not?
No.
Ooh,
Well, there's no shell in there. That's. I
you've
mean,
done
I've
alright,
made a bit of hash of it, but
Not bad, not bad.
Right, I'm going to give you another one.
okay, there we go.
Me, you're
And
testing.
another one. You
In this bowl,
can do it here
in
again.
there. Okay, there we go.
Oh, you want to
It's
whip in
not-
there? And one more.
Okay, this
So
is
good luck, you know, you never know. And we've got more in case we need to practice some more
Not this knack
cracking.
of cracking it on the. Oh, it makes you look like such a pro
I know,
if you don't.
you've-
If you do it
But
better
you've
than
nailed
me.
it.
I'm going to give it a really good whisk.
And then we'll give you the nice opportunity. You can pop that in here and give your hands a wash.
So like I was saying, seasoning everything. So I'm going to season my flour, season my breadcrumbs, season my eggs
I'm just whisking. That's all I'm doing.
with a little bit of salt. Have you got salt?
No, no salt.
Okay.
I did put salt and pepper in there.
Do you want me to mix?
Yeah,
the
you can mix
salt
in.
Just give it a little. Okay.
Zhuzh.
I'm going to give you a little more salt as well for the party, you know?
It's just salt and pepper everywhere. Okay. Are we ready?
Oh, we're ready.
This is looking pretty good. I feel like we're going to need more egg later, but that's acceptable.
But we can always crack more.
We can always crack more.
Right, so our breading station. So basically, you have to, a little bit like earlier with our chicken, you need to make sure it's wet enough that something is, thank you, no, yes, you're right. Something, if it's a little bit wet, it needs to dry itself out, so it'll then stick to the breadcrumbs. So you have the
Then pick up
breadcrumbs,
the
yeah. It's a bit of a convoluted thing. So
Yeah.
we're all going to be wet hand, dry hand, because we've got so many
Are
of
we?
us now. So one person keep their hands dry, and one person will keep their hands wet. That's my
My
idea.
hands are now dry.
Right, Maddie's a dry person.
Can I
Right.
be breadcrumb lady?
Okay, you will be egg man then.
And while
I'm
we
Eggman.
go, your Eggman, welcome to Egg City.
Egg man, right.
Should
So,
I have one wet hand, one dry hand?
You are just going to be the center man. All you have to
Okay.
do is egg everything we give you.
so I have to dry this out so the egg will stick to my courgette, but I'll just tap everything off so it's not massively sticky.
And while
And
we
we'll
go
just keep on
through
going.
This system, this is
Just
just going to
a
be a
light dip.
well-oiled machine.
It is. It's
And
actually
while
a
we
good
go
thing
through
to do.
this system, yeah, chuck it in. And the breadcrumbs are the best bit, so you can go nice and heavy.
Oh, I see. Yeah, this is very good. So the point is,
You like the wet hand, dry hand vibe?
Well, the whole thing. When I get home, I start cooking before I've thought about what I'm cooking, and then the meal kind of emerges from.
I love
mean,
that.
it's often a hot mess, a literal hot mess. Whereas this is like very intense. Like you also you haven't been doing this very long. We've only been doing it about 20 minutes, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like if you're organised, we're well. You know, you've got half the dinner in the oven.
Yeah, we
What's
have
your
done
trick to a good like cheat food?
cheap
Your
food that's
fr-
like,
what's your Friday night? Like, if you're not doing, obviously, if you're not doing chicken and chips, what's your?
obviously.
Wow, I'm trying to think. I mean, things have got I know I should have. I often get stuff.
Have we
for
put you on
things
the
like
spot? I'm
this.
sorry.
I don't know why. This is not a complicated question. I suppose. Well, to be honest, this is what happens: is I get home and we
panic.
haven't done the shop, and so there's just whatever's in the fridge, and so I start chopping it up. And while I'm chopping it up, I think, what am I going to do with this? And basically. Sometimes Dolly, my wife, will come and take over and make it good, and sometimes I'll just persevere.
And sometimes
until-
you just have to
until
go
something
right to the
emerges.
very end.
I'm trying to think, like I guess like a treat. Like I'll do a pasta or something like that. I mean, I'm making it sound like I'm a bad cook, and I'm not terrible.
you're not.
But
I was gonna
I'm
say-
not organised, and I've never had a proper
We
lesson.
did invite you here because you have a good knowledge of food and like the food system and
I'm an enthusiastic, and I do love food. And I think what I love about what you're doing is that we're not cooking sort of traditionally, super healthy food, like as in, the kind of thing that has a reputation as being healthy. You're actually just doing stuff that people really want to eat, which is the healthiest kind of food because it's proper home cooked,
And it's
whole
realistic,
food,
like,
and it's
you know.
realistic and it's easy to do.
and the amount
That's
of
what I love.
times I make a salad and I really don't want to eat it because it's a salad.
Because it's healthy.
But we classify this as healthy because it's
No
you've made it
additives.
from home as well. Like you've made it, you've seen what's gone into it, and it's all good food that you can find easily enough, and hopefully make it with a bit of love, and it's delicious.
I'd say my go-to would be a courgette omelette, like a grated courgette
very
omelette with a bit of
nice,
parmesan
yeah.
on top, and that's pretty easy, and it always looks amazing. It comes out bubbling. It's good.
So it's impressive
it's
as
good.
well as
people
like-
yeah.
yeah.
People, I say people like it. Who's these people? Like we've got a 1-year-old. We're not having dinner parties. It's just me and Dolly. If she's not happy, she'll just go something. Just make some toast,
Right. I'm not going to get you to clean your hands just yet, because the next thing we're going to do is fish goujons. So we're going to keep our little messy breading
Same station.
and maybe have a little reset. I've definitely got enough flour, but we might need a little more egg and probably a little bit more breadcrumbs. So we're just going to have a quick reset. I'll show you how our chicken is getting on as well. These are looking pretty gorgeous.
I've done my best to spread really evenly, just with a tiny bit of a gap. I don't know if you can see. These cauliflower florets I might have to
jettison.
Yes, they might disappear onto another tray in the next minute or so. Just to give everything like a nice bit of space, because although it looks quite neat and lovely, I would say it's a bit crowded at the moment. So I'm going to give my hands a good wash, and I'm going to spread this out. I might put all of the cauliflower on a separate tray, just so you can see it nice and crispy.
There's just enough room, I think. I'm sure we'll get away with it. So I'm going to add a little bit of oil on top, and you're just going to have to stand there with your wet hand for a sec. I'm sorry.
I mean, I've definitely got. I feel like sometimes I briefly trained to be a surgeon, and one of the many. I mean, I wasn't a particularly good surgeon, but one of the many things that put me off is I didn't particularly like having
gloves
sticky
and
hands.
things. Yeah,
like I didn't like. I prefer to have clean hands.
Okay.
So this is beginning to. I want to sort of run my hands through my hair.
I'm so sorry. Putting you through a sensory nightmare.
No, it's good. It's good.
All for TV.
If you can hear that and smell that, I'm gonna come
she's
up to the
sizzling.
camera.
It smells amazing.
That's been in for 10 minutes at a nice high heat. It's already looking super crispy. I'm rotating it because I know the oven is really hot on the front, so I'm just giving it a chance to cook evenly. But that's not, in terms of crispiness, like it's looking good, and it smells really good as well.
All right, so the next thing we're going to do is our fish. Do you want to do some chopping, or do you want...
I'm happy to do some chopping.
All right, I'm going to get you to give your hands a quick wash then.
I can do that. I'll do it officially.
Officially, yeah. So we're just going to need a little bit more breadcrumbs. We're just going to re-season our trays as well, because of course if you keep adding more breadcrumbs, you're just going to need a little bit more salt. Yeah. And definitely at least one more egg. It's really annoying to run out of eggs halfway through. So again, if you're starting from absolute scratch, don't do this if you've only got one egg in the box. That's the worst thing. Suddenly you've got a very dry thing. But now you've seen us do it with milk, you know that's one alternative. You can just dip it in something that's a little bit wet to help the breadcrumbs stick.
Could you pad the eggs? If you only had a couple of eggs, could you add a splash of milk?
Definitely.
Okay, that's good. This is
You could
good.
even add a splash of water or something to
thin it out if you need to.
That's great. It's like putting a hose in the soup. You just sort of make things go a little further.
We love that. I love stretching things. It's a really good way to, best way. So for your goujons, which is basically really fancy fish fingers, you're going to take, we got some lovely sustainable pollock from fish from the UK, which is great. Wild, if you pop it on here, I just don't want to get my hands fishy and have to wash them again, basically.
And how do I broach this piece of fish?
Brilliant. So
like that?
if I just move these out of the way, just so the cameras can pick it up. Just stack these up a sec. So with our pollock, you can see we've got basically the thin part of the belly and then the thicker loin. So you're going to do your first line across here, just to separate the two bits.
Okay. Like that?
Yeah, keeping your fingers well out of the way. Which you are, sorry, I'm just on the wrong side.
No, it's definitely keep an eye on me.
And then we're going to go for 1-inch pieces on the thick part. And then on our thinner belly, just so they cook really evenly, we're going to go maybe just a tiny bit thicker, 1.5 inches or 2 inch.
How's that?
Looking good.
So you're still imperial? You're still doing inches? Goujons are measured in inches?
No, that's just a me thing, unfortunately. Because my thumb is exactly 1 inch on a measuring thing. That's just like a good visual. I can just go like this and go, oh yeah, that's 1 inch.
Yeah, no, I think on the BBC we'd have to do both.
Yeah.
I think normally you're like...
But actually that's true. The one thing I do often say is like
centimetres.
roughly just a tiny bit thicker than your finger. So that's all, but
It is
everyone's got
fish fingers.
fish fingers.
It's not.
If you've seen a fish finger, you're
Fish
just
inches.
cutting it into the fish fingers.
You can count in fish fingers. I think everyone subconsciously knows what a fish finger
that's
roughly
quite good.
is.
But you eat fish fingers when you're a kid, so you might be remembering them as large. You know, like
A
when
bit
you go
bigger.
to an old
Shrinkflation.
you go
It
to a
is
place, you're like, oh, it's
true.
smaller than I remember.
I did see fish
And-
fingers recently, and they are actually
Quite dinky.
very small,
Yeah.
and you need more than 3.
As an adult,
can tell you
you
that.
need more than 3.
Yeah.
And
What's-
for anyone who's not working in Imperial, that is 2.5 centimeters. But that's
How
much.
am I doing here?
You're doing great. But that's that doesn't feel quite as neat as 1 inch.
No, 1 inch.
But we're bilingual. We can do both.
Where do you stand on asking for compliments for the food when you serve it? That's a big part of that's probably the one bit of chefing
let's say you ruin it. You never say anything until people eat. Let them make their own choice.
Oh no, I sit there as the food moves towards Dolly's mouth. I'm like, is it okay? Is it good? Are you enjoying it? Is it good? And often we'll layer on a sort of thick sauce of guilt where I'm like, oh, but I worked really hard on it.
Slaved away on
even
this.
if I didn't.
I think anything that's made at home is probably really tasty, right?
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably. I'm saying probably.
You can redeem it by going to you can improve, you can go to your own, in the restaurant you're stuffed, but if you're at home you can add whatever sauces
and you can also, you can zhuzh it up, add
can
extra
embellish.
pinch of
take it
salt.
back and recook it.
You can embellish it with a glass of wine as well, if need
that's
be.
good.
Yeah.
And if it's really rubbish, just an extra in a glass of wine. No one
An extra glass of
ever
wine
know.
can fix
You've
everything.
added a little more
I did
breadcrumbs
salt
into
and
this.
pepper in this as well.
She's
Is that one
good
too
to go.
fat? I'm worried about, is that one too fat? No.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just going to give that one very quick re-whip. And then how about we all swap around? Someone else can be wet hand, dry hand.
He's egg boy now, so
All
he's
right.
going to do the start.
Egg boy.
You didn't think you'd come onto this show and be called Egg Boy?
You thought you were going to be introduced
I would
as
have thought,
doctor, but actually now you've been
Even
introduced
Dr.
as
Egg or
boy.
Egg Man would have been okay, but Egg Boy, I mean, I'm the most
That's your
junior person in
superhero
the kitchen,
name
okay.
now.
Dr. Egg.
All right, so
I'm
we're
not
all
sure
going to
it's
get our
fine.
hands a little
Okay.
bit messy. If you really, really hate the smell of fish, make sure you wash your hands with cold water before you move on to the next stage. If you wash it with hot water, it actually cooks it onto your hands. Top tip.
Well, that
Yes.
is
From someone
absolutely
who
top
hates the smell of fish on their hands.
And also, I will say,
little bit
if
of
you
lemon
wash it
and
with
salt.
hot water, it actually is sticky as well. Like you can still feel the fish on your hands if you wash it with really hot water because it kind of like
This
cooks
is
it
such
onto
good
you.
information.
Okay, yeah.
We do classes as well.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not. It sounds like now I'm like, come to cookery school for more information, but it's like that is good. I'm genuinely impressed.
So I'm just shaking them off a little bit just so they're not like mega floury. And if you want extra thick layer of breadcrumbs, you'll go egg, breadcrumb, egg, breadcrumb. So you'll do a double coating.
That's the double
That's for
coat.
the very, very chunky thick coats.
Do I have a job here? Should
Of
I
course,
be doing
you can-
Should I be turning them in the egg?
Yeah, we just want
Yeah,
like a
give
lovely
them a
even
little-
coat.
coat.
That's my job.
your egg-
I'm on it now, sorry. Here we go. Okay.
Flour girl, egg boy, and
And I'll be
Flour
breadcrumb
girls-
lady.
flour
Oh,
girls all
actually,
right.
and I think me being
flour girl. That does
Can
sound
I-
quite romantic.
should I be like crummy or the crummer?
Crummy.
That's awful.
Okay, well I'm happy to be bread girl.
Okay, bread girl, can you
How's
do a little oil on the bottom of the tray?
Yes,
so
I can.
again, it's the same thing every time. Little oil on the bottom, little oil on top, just to make sure they're getting even heat, crisping up nicely. These look very even. I approve.
Of the pieces. Oh, that's good. The constant need for praise and feedback that's good. I'm feeling.
So even though it's like kind of different shapes all the way along the fish fillet, and we were starting with one whole big piece of fish, you can even do like smaller pieces, something like a whole piece of haddock per person would be a nice single portion, and it's a little bit less breadcrumbing in the end, to be honest, if you just do small pieces of fish, but we've chosen to do one big fillet and chop it up for extra credit.
Extra credit.
All right. How are we getting on?
This is great. Yeah, we do. I mean, I'm the rate limiting step here, but I'm getting into the swing of it now.
Right.
Okay, here we go.
I'm going to
Here-
start
oh,
to
Here we go. Here we go. Come
shrink.
on. Oh, come on.
You've got this. I'm sorry I called you egg boy.
This is actually, I mean, what's interesting is I often watch the chefs on the TV and think, that looks easy. And it's actually very, like, even though I have one single job, this gives me I mean, I've always respected the telly chefs, don't get me wrong, but this gives me a new level of respect for them.
I think if you're thinking about it, you've got all your stuff kind of prepared, it can be a really quick anything really. Like if you've like, I need my grater, I need this. I'm one person, I just like to grab everything that I need and I just lay it all out on the bench so I don't forget everything.
I think if I'm getting one thing today, if you'd said to me, make some fish goujons, I would have, how would I have messed it up? I wouldn't have done the flour, I wouldn't have done the egg and stuff. I wouldn't have done it very well. But the main thing I'm getting is actually like a mindset of preparation. That seems to be like you've made your life so efficient just by going, get out everything I need, measure it all out, and then you're like, everything is clean.
Yeah,
it's amazing. You're like tidied as you've gone.
And I think this is such a crowd pleaser as well, to be honest. Do you think your son would like these?
A
little too young for that?
No. He's into everything. Yes. Well, so I have a 16-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I think everyone would like this. I think they're great.
16-year-old,
yeah,
definitely.
Well, I'm
Chips,
sure
you got it,
that our
right?
1-year-old would like. I don't know. I don't think we've made him this, but only because we're You're a bit lazy with a 1-year-old because you're like, oh well, he can kind of.
He doesn't even know.
If there's some
fish
porridge
is.
left
Yeah.
and then there's a pile of vegetables, you just mix them together because he doesn't have
He
an
doesn't know.
expectation
Yeah.
of what should go with what.
I think we're going to release you from your eggy duties.
Oh.
Egg boy.
And so even better, we'll let you sit down, have a glass of wine,
Oh, here we go.
and you can just come back up once everything's out of the oven and taste everything. I think you've come in for, I will say, the hardest and the muckiest part. And you can come back later and just have a nice
God,
dinner.
I didn't
How
do
does
that. I did
sound?
the hot water.
I know, I also did that.
I didn't know which tap was which.
So best laid plans
Never mind.
go askew all the time. That's kitchen life, you know?
In terms of where we are at,
We'll show you all our different trays at this point. I'm going to get this in a nice hot oven
we are going to kind of do a little bit of a shuffle around. We're going to check, have a look, see what looks good in the oven. But at this stage, we have breaded everything. So we've done our crispy chicken. We have done our crispy sweet potato fries. We have done breading of courgette, aubergine, and cauliflower, and our fish goujons, and absolutely everything is in the oven. If you've missed every other night, we did not caramelize onions tonight. I just want to let that be known. Night nine, first night we're not caramelizing onions. So everything's looking pretty good, and Millie's going to see what everything looks like while I give my hands a good wash.
with cold water.
With cold water.
Otherwise, you just get slightly fishy smell on your hands, but you can just use like a little bit of lemon and salt to sort of get rid of that flavour. But right, I'm going to clean this down, and I'll show you our little status report, how we're going. So I'll start with what went into the oven first. So these are beginning to look very good. I might give them a little rotate, but having a look at them now, they're probably almost certainly cooked. So testing that chicken is finished, you need to either poke a knife or a skewer in. You're looking for totally clear juices. That means your chicken is fully cooked and definitely safe from things like salmonella and campylobacter. But yeah, I'm going to give this a quick rotate, put it back in the oven so everything is very crispy all over. And then I'm going to show you our sweet potato wedges, our veggies, all of our bits and pieces.
They look pretty good. They sound crispy.
They sound crispy.
We're going double crispy, both side crispy.
So it's also why it's really nice to use these skin-on portions because the skin
And
gets
so if you have
lovely
a
and crispy.
thermometer, where are you stabbing?
We are stabbing not quite to the bone because that's going to give you a bit of a off reading, but you want to just go into the thickest part of the chicken and it should read 74. That means it is totally fine. That's the national guidelines for cooking chicken. So just to be on the safe side, you want to hit 74 or 75, that's a good temp. Well, you can have a look, see where we are. We are at 90.
90.
So with chicken breasts, this is definitely going to start to dry out, but with chicken thighs, it's got lots of connective tissue. It's like a hard-working muscle, it's the thigh. So it will continue to tenderize in the oven. It's not going to dry out.
Yeah, and we do want that second. We want that second layer of crispiness. So it's going to go back in at that nice high heat.
You can see the first lot, very parsley.
Very parsley. Just two different types.
Little
That's all
swap
it is.
over. Oh, these are looking good. So,
Oh, they look nice.
very nice. These need a little bit more time, but they're definitely on their way to getting crispy.
Yeah, I might give them all a little bit of a flip.
It's funny, yeah, you can see on the other side that's literally been touching the tray, it's like the frying pan. So that side has got
so
very,
it's
very crisp.
actually got a little bit more colour than the rest, which is pretty cool.
Oh, it's getting hot in here.
It is. It's starting to get warm. And a good sign that your eggplant is kind of on the way, we might do another little layer of oil, is it's starting to get soft and kind of a bit floppy. We don't want it to lose its whole structure, but we do definitely want the aubergine to cook through completely.
But out of all of these, your aubergine can spend the longest in the oven, and things like
Definitely.
courgettes and your cauliflower can be a touch crunchy. It's not a bad
Yeah.
thing. But aubergine, if it is not fully cooked through, is just not worth
Not
eating.
very nice.
And
Okay.
also, things like aubergine take really, really well to caramelization. So if you
Yes.
saw yesterday's episode where we made our veggie bolognese, the aubergine is like super meaty. It's really delicious when you let it get quite caramelized and crispy. So back in it goes. Especially when you're batch cooking things in the oven and you've got a couple of trays, just try and give them as much space between each one as you can, just so the heat can circulate really evenly and hopefully as much steam can vent. Wow.
They look very nice. Look at that nice golden colour.
And if I use something really dull, because that's a good indicator of how soft something is. Oh yeah, they are already soft. And if I go like that, it won't even stay on my spoon because it is so soft. So we are now just going for crisping. We know they are cooked.
These look absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, look pretty good.
Yeah, look at that colour.
They definitely don't need any more oil. There's still lots on the tray. They're just crisping up nicely.
Plenty.
But if you saw them starting to get really dark in random spots, it might be because they haven't actually got enough oil on them and they are just burning.
Yeah,
so good thing to watch out for.
Not caramelizing, they're just burning instead. But these ones, that nice golden colour we're just looking for everywhere instead of just one side. So the pan's done all the work and we have started
So I'm going to rotate everything in their trays. And then we're going to do a little bit of coleslaw, show you how to make a delicious creamy dressing. All right, swapsies. All right.
Looking good.
So the fish that has just gone in, if you're trying to see if this is cooked, again, my spoon, my favorite test. This will not be cooked, it's only been in for 5 minutes, but if I press it, oh my gosh, they are not far off. Once it starts to flake, it is cooked. So I'm just gonna give them another 2 minutes just to crisp up, because yes, they're cooked, but they're still a little bit soggy. They need a bit more time for the breadcrumbs to get lovely and crispy. So back in they go, and I'm just gonna rotate my tray again. That way.
Done everything.
Actually, we could flip these. No, that'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
All right, we're getting a little bit hot in here if you are doing lots and lots of oven roasting like us. But we're going to show you, along with our special guest once again. Come on, Zand. You're going to do some chopping.
Is this coleslaw? Are we doing coleslaw?
We're doing coleslaw, yeah.
Absolutely love coleslaw.
Do you?
But I'm lazy to make it.
Okay, well, I will show you.
You are just about
It's pretty
to learn.
quick, you know? It's not going to take us long.
Can I do the peeling again?
Of course you can. So this is going to be our main coleslaw bowl.
Okay.
So it's what everything's going into. So we're starting with some white and red cabbage. Very good for your gut health, but also it stays crunchy for quite a long time. So you're going to cut this as thin as you can.
Okay.
And if you can get rid of this core, that'd be great.
Do you get rid of the core with like a wedge?
I would
shape?
do a wedge, as
Okay,
long as your
cool.
fingies are like right
Is
out of the
that
way.
Is that
That's
right?
for you.
You can use that one.
Okay, here we go.
So yeah, that's exactly what I do. As long as my fingers are out of the way, I don't mind how it comes out.
Okay, here we go. And then it literally as thin as I possibly can.
Yes. Want
This
them nice
will
and thin
be-
so it stays crisp.
Yeah, and
also
it's not going to be eaten, not going to be cooked, so however thin you are willing to eat.
Well, no, it's good. It's okay. This is great.
nice sharp knife as well always helps doing these sort of tasks. And I've got my fingers in a big claw, just so everything is taken right tucked
You're being
away.
really okay. That's good. The claw.
The claw,
The claw.
for any Toy Story fans.
Okay.
So coleslaw is a nice mix of a few things, so mostly crunchy. So we're going to do mayo, and we've got some dressing to kind of help that mayo get a bit of flavour.
Cool.
But it's just
So
a variety
tuck your nails right, perfect.
of crunchy, fresh things. So we've got a couple of carrots, but we also
I
want a
look
little
bad
bit
if you cut
sweet
yourself.
things. So we've got some apple, we've got the cabbage, and then we've got our mayonnaise and our dressing, and that's all we need to do.
And as I'm taking it into the bowl, I'm just sort of crumbling it up lightly just to break it up. And if it starts to wobble, like mine is about to, I'm just going to push it onto the next flat surface. So it's really stable and my fingers are never in danger. Especially when things start to wobble, that's often the easiest point to cut yourself.
Lovely.
So we're going to do all our prep for our salad first, and then we're going to show you how to make a delicious creamy dressing from scratch.
With our house-made mayonnaise again. Yeah. Instead of attempting to cut something that's very hard, very thin like Mill is doing, I'm going to grate the carrots. One, because they don't bend. No matter how well you dress them, they don't bend at all. So grating them is just an easy way to get, yes, extra crisp. It's a little bit sweet as well.
Nice
good
colour.
flavour, nice colour. Talk about eating the rainbow all the time. This is one of those things that you can kind of cheat with. And again, we did it with the cheese. It's only sharp on the way down, so you don't need to drag it back up again. And watch your thumb. How many times can you grate your thumb? Oh,
All right.
you beat,
Yeah,
you beat Millie.
yeah, but
I had a
but
big
didn't do
piece,
as
you
good a
know.
job.
Right, you can pop all of your...
Now, can I have a go with Jeffrey?
Of course.
You
'Cause
can
I
have your
only-
very own Jeffrey.
Who am I to
I'm
deprive
very
you of Jeffrey?
impressed with Jeffrey because I used this for baking,
Oh yeah.
But I've not, and then I see people
they're
on the
great for
socials
baking.
doing it with everything else, and I think it looks quite slick. Okay, there we go.
Have you got the apple, Maddie?
I do.
There we go.
All right, I'll show you how to cut the apple, and then you can start doing that yourself. Right, so the last few ingredients, we've got a lovely crisp apple, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of crunch. We've got some spring onions and some celery seed. And then we are done with our prep. So we're gonna go not quite through the center, just a little bit off to miss the core. And then you should have one nice cheek. Then you can put it flat, again, go just off the core. Keep going around so you've got a square core to get rid of. You can put
And
it in
just
here.
as thin slices as I can do.
Not too thin. So this is not quite as tough as our cabbage. So we want to go maybe centimetre
Oh, a
slices.
centimetre.
A little bit thicker.
Sweet crunch.
Otherwise, they will just get really, really soft and they'll just kind of melt into it and get a bit mushy.
There we go.
And then into the bowl it goes. So this makes a lot. It's great for a barbecue. So just bear that in mind. Cabbage tends to explode in size once you cut it up.
Yes, if you were to put 2 whole cabbages in this recipe, you would genuinely be drowning in coleslaw
Forever.
forever.
But it'll keep, right? So you can
It'll
make
keep for a
your
couple of days,
coleslaw
yeah.
keep for a couple of days.
Yeah, because it's
That's
so
quite
crisp and
good.
crunchy. It will stay good for a while. Our spring onions, if you've got any floppy bits, you can just pull them off. We're going to trim the top and bottom. Oh, there you go.
Pull the floppy bits off. You just.
I
pull
just
them like that.
I just twist off the bits that are a little bit
That's
dried out
good.
at the
This
top.
is so chefy. It's so chefy.
Chefy but approachable at home.
No, but I want the little things that just make me look a little bit more.
Little bit
whereas
more
as soon as
cool.
I'm chopping the bit, it's like.
You know what makes you look cool?
Yeah.
Jeffrey,
That
Jeffrey
is
makes
so good.
everyone
I'm
look
thrilled.
cool.
I'm thrilled with that. And but breaking the spring onions, that's nice. Okay.
So I want
Then
you
we're
to show
taking
me your
off the-
fine dicing.
Oh, okay.
We're going to
okay.
go, or slicing even, just as thin as you can go. So you can sort of over direct your hand,
Okay.
just so this is right against your knuckle, but not against your fingers.
Okay.
And you can just do really thin slices, and your fingers will creep back as your knife goes back. Ah, you've done this before.
How's that? Is that
Looking good. So these are going to go into my bowl.
I sometimes think the main thing that I sort of like about cooking is that just chopping vegetables is sort of very satisfying.
Oh, it
And
is,
it makes
definitely.
me feel like a chef.
You should have been here yesterday. We did so much chopping.
Oh. But then sometimes you're tired and you're like, oh no, the huge mountain of vegetables. Like an onion, just... Have you got a
Seems
good trick
mountainous.
for peeling an onion? It's a different lesson. It's a different lesson, don't worry.
I'll show you after.
Okay, so the spring onion's going in.
Yeah, they can go in.
And
Looking
carrots
good.
going in as well. And we've got
Oh, you got the dressing stuff.
Got the dressing
Wonderful.
here. We are in. We've got it's already turned. We've turned it into a massive bowl. Pretty much no matter what's happened. We're going to do.
You can do these ones as
dressing.
well.
Or do the-
Yeah.
do the
So,
dressing.
how about we all do
Come on,
one?
somebody, keep going.
Get it.
We'll all do one. Oh, how nice!
But would you do them as a... Would you do like several as a...
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
definitely
you're-
a good efficiency
okay.
tip to do
Okay,
lots at the
okay.
same time. I like a style. Very thin.
And how far up onto the green? I never know.
Yeah, good point. So usually I just go up until it's like stays fresh. I don't like to waste anything. So if you have got lovely fresh spring onions, you should keep all of it. And I also like to do very minimal trimming. Again, people will cut like that much off, but you only need to take off just the root.
If you're doing the coleslaw at home and you're doing once times the recipe, you will need 2 huge bowls or 1 enormous bowl.
I think we will just about... Where's our bowl gone?
I think the best thing I own, like we
Is
have
a
a
giant
salad
bowl?
bowl that's like 3 feet wide. and
Imagine that with coleslaw.
it's so good because you can mix things properly and it doesn't go everywhere.
Yeah.
And I always feel like if you're going to put one thing in your kitchen, one extravagance, it's a massive
Massive
salad
bowl.
Do you know what we also use Jeffrey for? Scraping off my knife. Keeping your
Oh,
fingers
this
safe.
is so good.
Sponsored by Big Jeffrey. That's our...
Is it actually? Have you just nicknamed it Jeffrey, or is
We
it
have.
actually
We have,
called-
yeah.
Not actually
it's not-
called
that's not a
Jeffrey in
brand.
real
I
life.
don't have to be like other scrapers.
No,
are
no, no.
available. Okay.
Right, so that's all our chopping for tonight done. So all the hard work out of the way. And we're just going to do a little quick wipe down, show you how to make a delicious creamy dressing. And we'll just pull that the way.
That's good. That was sort of
speedy.
Even on your own, you could have got that done in
10 minutes, I
10
think.
minutes. I think it
minutes.
is an honest 10 minutes.
Yeah, not a speed,
Not a-
speed chop.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
what about? Are you against putting the cabbage in the machine?
No, not at all. If you've got a food processor, they're wonderful. Just do it. I just think, I always use the example of camping, even though I don't know if you'd make a coleslaw camping. But if you're in a kitchen you don't know and they don't have lots of equipment, it's great to know how to do it by hand. It's just good practice. So you can use a Magimix or something, but
we do it with the barest minimum of equipment.
Definitely, especially this particular session. So our dressing, we've got a mixture of some nice homemade mayo, some full-fat Greek yogurt, and a little bit of dressing, which we learned how to make a couple of nights ago, nice balsamic dressing. So you're going to mix all three of them together, and then we're going to have a little taste.
In here.
No particular order.
No particular order, all in together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So mayonnaise has got lots of things called emulsifiers. That just means that it's going to make it really thick and creamy, and it will never separate out. It will just always stay beautiful and creamy.
So what's a natural emulsifier?
Egg yolks, mustard, garlic, they all help to keep oil and water that don't like to cling together, but they keep them together.
Yes.
It's like the marriage counsellor holds the oil and the water together, so they'll always stay well combined.
Always stay together.
Always stay together.
Or the prenup.
The prenup, perhaps, yeah.
Or the true love. I mean, that's the real glue in a marriage, isn't it? Surely is the true love.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's the emulsifier is like one heart, one brain, one soul, isn't it? I mean, that's
and when people talk about adding pasta water to a pan as well, or sauce, that's also an emulsifier. So just using starches, it doesn't need to be a nasty ultra-processed ingredient. It can just be like classic things like starches and egg yolks and stuff.
That's what annoys me about the buying the ultra-processed mayonnaise is that it's so easy to make at home. It's cheap and it's not full of rubbish chemicals.
Definitely.
And that's my speech over. But I mean, it's one of the things that somehow industry has persuaded us that we don't need to make at home. And
if you can find a mayonnaise made with eggs, even better. They taste really good, and they won't have hopefully won't have any nasty ingredients. Looking good. Tasting time.
We taste.
Tasting.
We have many spoons for you to use.
1 spoon, 1 dip.
1 dip.
Well, that's a lot actually.
What's good is when
Even
though I like homemade food, sometimes you're like, oh, it tastes just like if you buy it in a bottle.
I know what you mean.
Which is
but
such a bad. Obviously, that shouldn't be but it's like that's really good. You can make the thing you'd buy in the supermarket at home with no weird ingredients.
Yeah, that's sort of what we're going for. You got the brief, you know.
Yeah, that's it. You've just packed all 20 days into one small sentence.
I finally caught up. Okay, that's what. Oh, I see. That's what we're doing.
You've got it.
Great, I'm on board.
So yeah, someone said to me today, this is almost like a ranch, but I was like, it's not far off it, but without a little bit of. It's actually got a little bit of garlic from our dressing that we made.
Yeah.
What would the ranch have differently? Blue cheese?
Just lots and lots and lots of nasty things.
Yeah.
Especially
like the ranch would just be like
ranch.
So we've got our very, very big bowl. I'm going to give this a gentle toss in my hand so I can actually go from the bottom to the top. And if you want to pour all the dressing over, your fingers are often the best salad tongs. But I might use, actually, maybe I'll just give these a little chop in half.
Oh, those are my ones.
Sorry.
Those are my ones.
They snuck in.
Do you mean chop in half like
lengthwise?
I see. I just haven't thought about what it would be like to eat this coleslaw. Someone's got to put it in their mouth.
That's a good point. Actually, when we teach salad classes, we often say everything kind of has to be uniform in size. So if you've got lots of thin shreds of everything, we'll go slightly thinner. You can maybe go perfect.
Like that?
Looking good.
Okay, there we go.
Ooh, it's getting sweaty.
I'm actually going to pull a few things out of the
They're looking
oven.
good?
They're looking very good, very crispy.
Will you? So we've got some little hot mats just so our surfaces, they're not heat proof, just so you don't lift it up, put your hand on and then suddenly you burn your hand. Amazing. We'll pause what we're doing for now just so Maddie can grab all her hot things out the oven.
Okay, I'm out of the way. Whoa, look at that.
It's looking awesome. So that is our beautiful crispy chicken. So we did say it was definitely cooked before in terms of temperature, but in terms of crispiness now it's definitely ready.
And because it's sat on that oven tray, it's crisped up even more. Just because I love crispy chicken, we're going to put it in one more time just to re-crisp that top, because sitting on the bottom, it's just collected some of the juices from the chicken, and this can just keep on cooking until it's beautiful and crisp. But you can see it's very, very golden, which is exactly where we'd like to be. I'll swap places with you.
Definitely ready. And again, these you can kind of put back in the oven if you need to. So say you wanted to kind of get everything in advance done. These can sit out and then you can put them just to get like that nice crisp up just before they're ready. And if you want to serve them nice and hot.
And I think our fish will definitely be done by now because we're just looking for crispiness. We knew it was cooked. And then hopefully we can place up a lovely meal for you to enjoy for your dinner tonight.
God, this is exciting.
Right, let me get out of your way, Maddie.
Lovely. That fish looks amazing.
Very nice.
This is just so spectacular.
It's going to be definitely a feast tonight.
Okay, so I'm not going to reach in. I just want that little bit.
Oh, that little nugget.
That little bit is like calling.
It's going to be.
Oh, that's good. No
So hot.
You don't need to burn yourself. Risky.
Oh.
Was it worth it? Oh.
Oh, so delicious.
But so hot.
But so hot.
Yeah, but it's like having fish and chips by the seaside. You're always like, but that's when it tastes the best.
That's my favourite way to eat things.
Oh.
Burn my mouth about 10 times a day doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm just adding our creamy dressing into our coleslaw and I give it a gentle toss just to mix it all together. But this is actually just like a pretty nice all-purpose creamy dressing. If you wanted something that's a little bit richer and looking very, very creamy like this, it's a good place to start. Right, and I'm going to get... How do you feel about getting your hands mucky one last time?
I'll do it, I'm ready.
You get extra points if you don't spill any.
Say, maybe do you want to mix
Don't
that
spill
down
any.
by that end?
Okay.
And I'm going to fill this whole table with hot stuff.
All right, let me get all of this.
Mucky hands.
So you're going to go very gentle to the bottom, twist and rotate. I'm sorry, I feel like I've given you a really mean task.
No, it's good. This is very good.
Are you finding things in that bowl that you're
I'm trying to imagine what is this like? It's like it's not really like anything. You know, can you pretend that you're sort of looking for treasure or something?
trying to find maybe a piece of apple that needs a bit more chopping?
Well, my piece of apple. But if you were trying to get kids to do this, how would you gamify it?
Oh, get a giant bowl so they don't make a mess everywhere.
I think you'd have to tell them there was a frog in there. You'd be like, there's a frog, and you got to get the treat it gently.
When I was a kid, I loved getting my hands really dirty.
Really? Okay.
So no matter what it was, I loved to just put my hands in, dig in deep.
And even though it doesn't look like it, this is our biggest glass bowl.
Yes.
So if you're at home, get yourself a nice big bowl to toss easily. But I'm really making you do this just because I know you love getting your hands dirty. And now you're not egg boy, you're coleslaw boy. It's a change of tack, you know?
Dr. Coleslaw.
Dr. Coleslaw.
I think Coleslaw Boy's better, actually. Dr. Coleslaw sounds slightly sinister.
So, I will say, I wanted to bring up, Dolly came in a couple of weeks ago now, and she said probably the most fantastic thing I've heard in a long time, which is the whole reason nobody's talking about the cooking and all the issues, you know, that are going on with the food industry is that it's not... like fun, but it is fun, no?
That's true.
It's I think there are very few things where you get mindfulness in the actual true sense of just being present and just going, I've got the full sensory experience. Like I'm going to enjoy the food more because I've like felt it and I know exactly how I feel.
Yeah, she was saying it's hard to get people in government to talk about it because it was like, you know, such a hard thing to talk about, really depressing and stuff. But she said she wanted to make it fun so that then government would be happy to talk about all the issues in the food. And I thought, we should make it fun. This is it. This is making food fun.
I mean, my wife is a genius and she's very, very clever at how to... She does make things fun. That's her brilliant thing in life, is she just makes things fun. I mean, her PhD was in sort of...
Making things fun?
Policy failures, which is not like the most fun. It doesn't sound fun, but it's like literally her PhD reads like a action novel.
Okay.
It's great.
Right, I think you've done a pretty stellar job there. Look at that.
That's good. Look at that. I did spill a bit, so I lose some points.
No, that's good.
No.
That looks thoroughly dressed. If you want to give your hands a wash, I'll bring out the salad tongs so I don't get my hands dirty. Oh, you do.
And we've got some beautiful slaw.
All right, chicken and chips. I've got a little aubergine because I love that. And you're going to need a bigger plate if you've got all of these things going on. That is the struggle. Oh my gosh, it's a heart-shaped piece of cabbage.
Oh, look at that. Oh, I think Dolly's watching.
Very special.
Dolly Rose.
All right.
I think we're going to dig in, but that's pretty much all we have time for tonight, just in time for us to start sweating.
So thank you so much for joining us for another night of Cook for Victory. Please tag us in Instagram, Cookery School London, hashtag Cook for Victory. We'd love to see all of your amazing work. And once again, that pasta was spectacular.
Very good.
It's good?
It's good.
We like
So
it?
good.
And most of all, thank you for being an absolute
Yes,
team player
amazing.
tonight. You've had your hands in
I
everything.
don't want to take all the credit, but it's pretty delicious.
So we're going to send you off with a lovely plate of food, hopefully. Is that enough for you?
Thank you so much. You're doing brilliant stuff, and it's
Thank
so
you.
good. Really, it's fantastic what you're doing. So.
Oh,
So
thank
if
so
you
much.
have missed anything, feel free to rewind. You can always watch later. We've done so many different things tonight, so if you ever need to catch up, feel free to. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. It's been
Amazing. Well,
awesome.
thank you for the delicious food.
And you've come up from egg boy now to coleslaw boy or coleslaw man.
I mean, that is a
Dr. Coleslaw
battlefield
Man.
promotion.
Doctor. Yeah, sorry. Doctor
When I
coleslaw.
return, I will be Professor.
Yeah,
Professor
when you come
Coleslaw.
for but thank you and thank you. Good night. Have a great Friday night.
Enjoy your weekend. We'll see
no
you
matter
again
what
on
you've
Monday.
breaded or crisped up in the oven.
Have a lovely Friday night.
Thank you.